and Speaker of the Osun Welcome back. It has been a busy, eventful and significant day so far, and voters across Osun State continue to take part in important democratic exercise. Over the past several hours, we have taken a closer look at political and governance history of the state, reviewed previous electoral contests, monitored development from polling units across Osun, and heard directly from voters, observers and other key stakeholders. It has been an engaging day, with developments continuing to emerge from different parts of the state. And while voting may be gradually drawing to a close in some polling units, it is important to emphasize that the election story is so far from over.
Well, the next phase of the process will be equally critical as attention begins to shift towards voter turnout figures, the closing of polling units, the collation of results, and the transparency and efficiency of the procedures that follow. Beyond the immediate outcome, we will also be examining the broader significance of today's exercise, including the lessons for Osun's democratic development, the experiences of voters, and what the election could mean for the political landscape of the state going forward. As developments continue to unfold, we will remain with you every step of the way, bringing you verified reports, analysis, and updates from across Osun State. But right about now, talking about updates from across Osun State, we are on call with a friend of the house. Is a reporter who is right now at Ikiri, at Irewole local government, specifically. Joshua and Tolagbe should be online as we speak. So, Joshua, how is it over there?
Yeah, it's peaceful, but we had a little issue earlier, about 45 minutes ago.
Okay, what was the issue like?
Yeah, at that particular unit was 3 unit 10. After the vote was casted, the other party agents were there, but a court party left. So, and the ad hoc staff of the INEC could not count the vote because they were waiting for the ad hoc staff to be around, a court party staff to be around so that they can count the vote. So they tried to reach them. Some people that know them visit them at home, but they refused to show up. But at the end of the day, the ad hoc staff reached out to the security personnel and other party agents, and they counted the vote, and it has been successful.
Well,
another particular unit, APC won the unit with 141 votes, while Accord has 49 votes.
100 and wow, that's quite a gap actually. But talking about it, results are trickling already from your particular location. How has the results counting be? What can you say about how people are going about it? Because we know many of them are saying that the people should stand and defend their votes. As you know, one day, how is it looking like?
Yeah, it's peaceful. Everything, the atmosphere is good, no problem, no chaos. Our people were there to see their vote being counted, to see their rights being not being tampered with, and everything is going as planned.
Okay.
All right, Joshua, how is the security over there, the atmosphere? How is it?
Yeah, it's calm. We have so many security personnel there, and they are doing their work accordingly, and every electorate there giving regards to every security member, and nothing is going on at the moment. Everywhere is calm.
All right. So what about the vote buying? And is there any cases of votes buying currently?
Like anyone that has been caught by the police?
And at the moment, there's no one has been caught, and there's no news or any scenario or any activities about vote buying at the moment.
Let me ask a final question before I bid you goodbye. From your perspective, now I'm just talking based on your opinion. How will you grade INEC performance in Ikiri today?
Yeah, the INEC performance, I would give them 95% because there's only, and in all the units I visited, there's only one unit that has problem of ink, and another unit has problem of gum, and that was the early hours of the election process. So far so good. They've done well, and there's no issue. The beavers, the equipment, everything that they brought are working well.
So from Ikiri, your own report is that INEC 95%. Well, Josh, we'll talk later. I want to bid you goodbye as you also make your way to Oshogbo for the final
right, thank you.
For being a pastor. Please stay safe. Stay safe. Please do.
All right, I will.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let's quickly take a short break. Immediately after this break, we come back. We take one more correspondence discussion. After that, we are going to just start the discussion for this segment proper. At least we'll be joined by Temitope Adedeji, who happens to be at Oshogbo as we speak. Though he said he was going to be at Ede, but I think by now he should be back at Oshogbo. So we'll come back to that. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Both the party agents and the accredited voters, everybody has been doing very well, and this place has been very, very good. No problem at all. This environment is conducive, unlike anything we have had, but it's fine here. We are okay, and we have done so far close to 130 accredited, and we are still hoping we will see low turnouts up till now, but from the beginning we started with, and we have accredited 130, so we are hoping before 2:30 we are going to see some people still come up, but we are here waiting for them. Thank you.
Area is cool and calm. The election is going on well, and I'm sure by the special grace of God, if it is continuing like this, we are going to have a free and fair election in Osun State.
Here in Irewole local government, Ward 9, Unit 9, and arriving here is the Senator Kamorudin Ojewumi, representing the people of Osun West Central District, and is here to cast his vote. And also after casting his votes, also address the situation of grant, and also address the issue that happened in the earlier hours of the election process at Ward 1.
Okay, now this the environment is very good at Ward 9, Unit 9 here, SS Peter Paul. This is very good, and the outcome, the turnout is very encouraging here. But what I witnessed here before I come here today is not encouraging at all. They started calling me from 6 o'clock that thugs have taken over 3 polling units in Ward 1. From Orieru in Manigbere compound, thugs led by Ujuobo with guns, then gone in the daylight, send people away there. At St. John's 1 and 2, St. John Parish is very close to the police station. They sent people away. They even took one man away. They have returned that one. They went to Alaha police unit in Ward 6, and they sent people away there. And unfortunately, the police were there looking at them. So I'm calling on the security agencies not to allow this to degenerate to crisis. We don't need it. It is not this one local government that will produce the governor. We have 30 local government. Although the candidate is from here, but still need the vote of other places. Unless we come and go and we'll continue to live. So I appeal to the security agencies to do their work professionally. I encourage the people too to cast their vote according to their wishes and allow peace to reign, so that everything can go as planned. That's my advice.
welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that report we gave to you. But right about now, we are joined. We have Temitope Adedeji online with us. Temitope, how are you right now, sir? Temitope Adedeji, how are you, sir? Hello, we can hear you. We can hear you. How are you? Where is your current position? Right now. Yeah, big noisy where you are. We can hear you. Go on, you can go on. We can hear you. Right now, we are back for the show. Can you move a bit away from the crowd, please? Can you move a bit away from the crowd? Yeah, we can hear you now. I think it's better now. Yeah, I think it's better now. Hello. We can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah. Let me stand by. Yes. Should I start over? No, you can start when you have heard some parts of what you said.
Yes, I just informed you of where we are now. I said that is the time of the discussion at the council is ongoing. So I'm just giving you the report of what happened at Osun. You don't need that for the people again now. Okay. To monitor the discussion at the council as the government chair. So, the people of Scotland, there are lots of issues as regards that election, and we just let the press conference of the international observers. Yeah. We hear the press conference now, and they gave us what they observed in Nigcomsat and some part of Ife,
yeah.
that police officers may use to show the way voters and the paper too. Yes, so they gave us that report that policemen were used to show the way electorate. So we are trying to find out why, and the rationale behind that very heart of the Nigerian police. Those are started with the responsibility of protecting the electorate. They are being used allegedly to show the way electorate. So we are trying to find out why and the rationale behind it. So at the same time, as supporters, as we taken some political tools were used at the same time also to start away ballot boxes and to stop the electionary process. So we are still on that. We just left the press conference of the international observers where we just had the press conference at the show. So now, like I said earlier, we are present now, the whole power of the government. And both the total activity unit where you need them in the morning. So we are there now. The counting is about to start. So definitely we are going to give you the outcome the report of what happened at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, from what you've seen so far, hope there is no much violence, because we know that of what the international observers have seen over time. We've taken note of their perspective as well. But from your own observation, if you are to grade INEC, if you are to grade security operatives, what would be your assessment? I'm asking you majorly. Can you hear me now clearly? Can you hear me clearly now?
Right, but about the network there, the network there is okay.
Okay.
But the network there is not too okay.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to ask majorly, if you can hear me clearly, is what's your personal assessment, INEC, of this election from your own observation of how it moved around in Osogbo and Ede during this election? What's your personal assessment of INEC in this election from what you've observed in your journeys today?
Sorry, can you call me back? The network is not too good.
All right, we'll get back.
I'm not hearing you.
We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you.
I think that's Demitokwe Adedeji himself, and I think the network issues there is just what is affecting whatever he has to say. But we'll get back to him very soon to get more from him on the update around Ede North. But as we speak, we have with us in the studio a guest. He is also going to be talking with us about the post-election, and now the results are trickling in INEC's performances, comparisons with the Ekiti elections. We'll also be looking deeper into the future of Nigerian elections after this. And thankfully, he's not just a man of many sides, a very vast personality. He is a political analyst, he's a legal practitioner, so election is something that is very good with as well. And we are glad to have him despite his very busy schedule. He's been with us, and in the person of I will call him a very fine. I won't call him a young man. It's my father, so definitely. Barrister Sharafa Okewoye, welcome to the show, sir.
Welcome to the show,
My pleasure to be here.
Good evening, sir.
And it's nice having you actually. And thankfully, we're having our show elections this period. And but so far, so good. Let me start with this question, sir, because I know you heard a bit of what Demitokwe Adedeji was saying before we went prior into the network issues and co. From your own personal assessment, if you had followed the elections from the beginning till now, how would you assess INEC's performance from your own assessment of the whole election process?
Thank you very much. So far, so good. INEC has tried to ensure that they scale up on their performance in the last election of Ekiti. And I think is a signpost to what to be expected in 2027 election. From report we got from the field, the ad hoc staff got to their various polling units on time, and materials were adequate, and everybody was orderly, and our next staff performed their duties without any hiccup. And the process like this was equally peaceful, which enabled INEC staff to be able to discharge their duties very well. So by my own assessment for now, I think INEC has done well. And if you listen to the governor of Osun State, Mr. Deleke
himself,
he said INEC has done well. If you listen to the kind of APC, Mr. Oyebamiji, he equally commended INEC. So we are getting this, and I do not think the ADC candidate, Mr. Salam, actually said INEC had not done well. So these are the three major candidates in the election. If all of them are saying same thing from different locations, it shows that INEC in this election, their readiness to ensure that they are scaling up their performance at every election. And I think it's just preparing us for what to be expected in 2027 general election. So to me, INEC has done well. If you listen to the reporter on the field, he said he will give INEC 95%, which is even more than expected, almost 100. So if this is coming from an independent media person, saying that INEC has done well, and this is somebody who is on ground, who is on the field, and that means what we are hearing from politicians, the governor, the APC candidate, and the ADC, it clearly show that truly INEC has done a very good job this time.
So we can't blame them for anything this time.
Exactly.
So everybody said INEC had done well. With this, they should just wait till after
the results. And what can you say about the security system that were adopted in this Osun State election?
Well, the security measure applied in this election is actually unprecedented. I think first time in the history of our election, our off-season election, that you'll be having 30 commissioners of police. You'll be having a very large armed forces on ground. In fact, I would want to say the whole security architecture of Nigeria has actually been deployed to Osun State. And I think what informed this, of course, was the exaggerated security concern expressed by almost everybody. That if Osun is allowed to remain the way it was, there might be conflagration of crisis in that place that we might not be able to manage. Because before the election, you discovered there were a lot of security threats here and there, a lot of propaganda here and there, and a lot of issues coming up. So, and I think the government does not want to take chances because of our experience in our elections, and that's why they deployed the entire security to the. So, to me, I think it has gone a long way in helping the process. So far, so good. Apart from pockets of skirmish, shenanigans that we have, generally speaking, the election in totality has been peaceful, generally speaking. So to me, deploying the entire security architecture to Osun has actually doused the tension, has actually shown to anybody that was planning to cause any problem in the election to have a rethink, because they know the entire security force of Nigeria is in Osun, and everybody at least tried to behave. So to me, the process is peaceful, and it justified the security deployment to the state. So I think the government has done well.
So if 30 commissioners of the whole Federation of Nigeria is being deployed to a whole Osun State, yes, what will now happen in 2027 election, whereby now 30 commissioners have been deployed, yes, and now we have 37 states? Yeah. What would happen?
Well, like I said before the election, there was exaggerated security concern expressed by almost everybody. And in fact, all of us were panicking that the election would not be free and fair, and there will be bloodshed. And if you look at the build up to the election, you discover a lot. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, they said somebody's nephew was killed, somebody died here, somebody attacked, a senator said this. So there was that concern.
Already from ground.
From on ground. And we were recording deaths here and there. So the fear of everybody was that Osun was not allowed to be turned into a battlefield. And don't forget, Osun has history of internal crisis, internal war, intra-communal crisis, and so on. So government was just trying to be careful that we mustn't allow the crisis to start from Osun. And to me, deploying 30 commissioners of police to Osun has actually gone to show to us that when there is a will, political will, things will be done properly. So now going to 2027 election that you mentioned, every state will be concerned. Every state will be involved. And at that level, each state will manage or monitor their state very well. And don't forget, general election is not as serious as this, because it is state issue. Don't forget, off-season election, neighboring states are not doing election. And don't forget, yesterday, the police allegedly arrested about 148 people
that were coming out of the state into the state.
No, they were already in the state at Ikiri, in one honorable's house. Yes, so it will be easy if it's only a state that's doing the election. But if it's everybody doing the election, everybody will mind his or her own business, and the tension will be minimal. So at that level, each commissioner will be able to man or manage their state. And don't forget, commissioners are more than 37. They are more than 38. But we just have commissioners that have commands. We have other commissioners that are not having command. They are in the, so if in each state during the election, we normally have up to 3 commissioners manning each senatorial district during general election. So it's not, because don't forget that there will be power, there will be forces.
Yeah,
and if you are not having a very superior police officer on ground, there might be counter authority. But once you have a commissioner that is manning a state in charge of 3 local governments, 6 local governments, there's not likely to be any border person that will be seen other person within that environment.
Before I ask another questions, I want to just talk to everyone out there. Please, the lines are still on. In case you want to call in, you can call in. I will be very glad to hear from you, just like we did in the last 2 segments that we have before now. But I want to ask this question because you talked about something, and I think I just need a bit of clarity on it. You said exaggerated security concerns.
Yes.
But before this election, we've had at least the known records of 29 deaths. Yes. We've had a senator that, said something that was not supposed to be said by someone of his status. We've seen issues of violence here, violence there. Should we still say that is exaggerated? These are realities that we just needed to curb. And if we look at today at the election, even Nalim Salam at a particular time when it was after he casted his vote, there was a point he claimed he was attacked. And some of them had the same issues round and round at this particular time. So do you think it's really exaggerated, or because these are real threats that actually happened on the ground itself?
Thank you very much. The picture we were given from Osun was as if we were going to war.
Yeah, true.
They were not giving any impression that it was a civil contest. The gladiators were drawing battle lines. And maybe that was what actually informed the number of deaths we recorded. And the way they took it until today, it was as if it was a do or die affair. It was as if the life of Osun depends on the gubernatorial election, which is not supposed to be so. And I tell you, it was actually fake belief of some political leaders that they believe they are on ground, and whereas they are not on ground, or they might not be on ground. It's exaggerated because they were given an impression as if Ekiti never did their own election. And it was not as serious as this. And if you ask me, with due respect to the gladiators, I would say it's more of those in government at the state level than even opposition. Because the way they are broadcasting the issues they were having, it was as if the attack was direct. And to me, it wasn't. And what they were supposed to sit down and resolve, they are taken out of proportion. Let me give you an instance. For the past 3 months or 4 months, state government or state governor had been saying Commissioner of Police of Osun should be removed. And they were playing this as if the Commissioner of Police actually has any direct thing or direct role to play in the whole process. Because the election is very clear. Once you have an election, there will be a commissioner for election, CP election. You normally have CP election, which means the sitting commissioner of that state will not be in charge of the election. It will not be. It will just be in the background. And if what we have in Osun, we have about 3 commissioners who are the CP election. And that's the tradition, and which I think or I know that the governor knows. That the commissioner of police, who is the current one, does not have any serious role to play in the election process. In fact, he's not even in charge of the command structure of because the police that will be deployed, majority of them are from outside that states. But those who are in the state are only to guide them. So to me, the 2 major gladiators, that's talking about parties talking about APC and Accord Party, they actually exaggerated the whole thing. I'm not saying we didn't recall that. And don't forget, in most of our elections, we do recall that, which we are praying that we should address, and this should not be happening. But it's happening. And at times, it's due to excesses of the followers of certain political leaders. Most things they are doing, the leaders
don't even know about it.
They don't know about it, they do not send them. It's over seriousness, which I think we must try as leaders to diffuse the attention at every given time. It's important for us to do that. Take for instance now, when the FCC said they got an order to frozen the account of the state, the next thing they did was they went on here and they were blackmailing the federal government. When the governor of Osun was campaigning, he went on the podium, he was more or less like issuing threats.
Yes, anybody.
Saying I will support the president. Talk to your people. Not to talk, we shouldn't allow things to get to that level.
That kind of
it's important for us to get it that election is not a do or die. Election is not about the soul of the state. It's about offering yourself that you want to serve the people. So, and I think I'm happy that at the end of the day, the prediction of the doomsday soothsayers did not come to, because the fear was that the election of today, there will be a lot of bloodbaths. But so far, I do not think we have recorded anything till now. And that's to do with the security apparatus deployed to the states, because the security is even likely to be more than number of voters. And if you see, and they are intimidating, so you think twice before you make any attempt to do anything. So which I think it is good, and that shows one thing, that it doesn't matter the party that is in charge at the state or at the federal level. The federal government, the party at the center is different from the party in the state. And they did not allow that to affect anything. What they were supposed to do, to my mind, was carried out to the letter. That's to my mind for now.
Yeah, for now. Yes. You will say for now. But I think I'm grateful for that. And thanks for the clarity on that particular statement. I want to, however, ask this question, because I remember Temitope talked about the reports that the international observers gave, talking about in some local government, especially they took Modakeke as an example. We got reports where even the INEC officials themselves, the security officials suspectedly were also involved with some issues of ballot snatching or violence thereabouts, and we can't yet confirm, though we saw some videos of it. I think Vanguard brought that out, but you already made the clarity that there will be some pockets of issues here, there, and all that. But sometimes too, many Nigerians, we can always think of a time when it is totally eradicated. Can it get to a point where issues like electoral violence or manipulations of securities and here, vote snatching, ballot snatching, and all that can actually come to an end in Nigeria?
Well, it is possible, but it's a gradual process. We must understand that it is becoming an old-fashioned, out of play, because of the IRF and beavers. If anybody is engaged in ballot snatching, ballot stuffing, the person or persons is or are just wasting his or her time. It's not, because you must marry what you have stolen with the reality on ground, and it's a process. So how they are going to do it, I'm waiting to see it. I'm waiting to see it, and that's why we are experiencing a very high vote buying in Osun. Well, the report has not shown that is, but I know that there was vote buying. Extremely.
Lots of reports there.
It means that those who allegedly involved in that act, to me, they are just wasting their time. Except INEC officials are involved. If they are not involved, they are just, it's an effort in futility. But the system we have currently, if it is followed to the letter, it will not accommodate what they have done, because beavers, IRF must agree with the physical ballot percentage. And of these things, it has time. As data is being captured, time is being recorded, and it's going to the central server.
Yeah.
So, if that is the case and is challenged in court, I think it will clearly show that in this place, voting did not take place. It was ballot stuffing, ballot snatching, and so on. So to me, it's still an allegation which is yet to be established. Thank God they specifically mentioned the town, they mentioned the polling units. It's now left for the INEC to cross. And don't forget, whatever happens at the polling units, after collation, they go to World Collation Center, where to be collated. And I think at this level, the party agent that is aggrieved or are aggrieved, they have every right to raise questions at that point. And they should not allow that figure to come. That's what I'm saying. If the INEC officials are not involved, the effort will just be futility. Because at the end of the day, after doing whatever you want to do, your application, so you still bring the results. And you cannot just bring the result. It has to come through the returning officer in the polling unit, who will take it to the RAC, that is Registrar Area Center, and that's what level, and it will be collated, and all party agents will be there to confirm same. So I think at that level, they can raise question. So to me, it's just an effort in futility. And like I said, it's an isolated case. It's not rampant. And another thing is, Modaike is a volatile
very volatile area.
So
Before
All
we
right.
go to further questions, actually, let's quickly take a short break just to attend to some things in the KAFTAN that we come back and give you the best service as we continue to discuss on this particular issue. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that short break. And yes, still looking at some of the post-election analysis as we speak. Happening already. Election results have been shown online, but I will try to tell you, please don't trust anything you see online yet until you check through the IREV or maybe INEC actually begins to do their official collation. But then we have been discussing, and I think you had a question before we went on that break, so you can ask now.
All right. So, do you think President Bola, or what can you, let me just say, what can you say about the influence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this Osun State election? Reason being that it is Ademola Adeleke against APC party. It's not personality against political party, not political party against political party.
Well, politics is about interest, no doubt about that. But in the current circumstance, Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, does not have any direct role to play. He's not a voter in Osun. Apart from that, he's the chief security officer of Nigeria. He doesn't have any role to play, and which I think he has discharged that duty dutifully and religiously by allowing various security operatives or components to discharge their duties without any influence, external or internal, from anybody. The deployment, what he did yesterday was to issue a statement. And he gave a marching order to all the head of security machineries in Nigeria that they must ensure that they provide needed adequate security for the electorate in Osun, and nothing must affect the process. And that's what we are seeing today, that the security agencies are impartial. INEC is not under President Tinubu. INEC is allowed to discharge its duty without any interference. To me, I think President Tinubu has actually demonstrated he's a Democrat to the core. And don't forget, he said it in a statement issued by Mr. Bayo Nanuga, that this election of Osun will be a signpost to 2027 election, which he himself is a contestant. So he's telling us that if election of Osun is marred with violence, if election of Osun is not free and fair and credible, and it's not acceptable, that's an indication of what we expect in 2027. And he's equally trying to be careful. So to me, I think he has demonstrated his statesmanship, showing that the level playing ground is provided for all political parties and all candidates. And from what we have seen in various clips shown by the voters, the contestants, everybody was free and everybody was allowed, and no record of serious issues at the various polling units, no serious issues, except that of Monaike that was said by Mr. Governor of Osun, which has not been confirmed. It's still an allegation, which I think, yes, it has raised an alarm at very early stage. And I think by now, that area must have been calm. We had anything from that place again. And the security officers, if it is true, they have names, they have tag. They will face the music. So to me, largely, President Tinubu has demonstrated that he's a Democrat, that he's patriotic, that he doesn't have any stake at Osun election. And people's wish should be respected. And those who are concerned must ensure that they are impartial. And they must be seen to be impartial. And that's what we have seen so far. So to me, Nigerian democracy has come to stay by the sort of, outcome of today's election.
Yeah, talking about Nigeria's democracy, one of the things that I think is an encouragement that we saw today was reports that the voter turnout today was quite very impressive. Unlike the last elections, I think Ekiti election to have that same record, that the voter turnout was very, very impressive. Though we are still yet to get to the full mark, to get a full compliance to elections in Nigeria. But what do you think? Ekiti election, impressive turnout. Osun election, impressive turnout. What do you think is the causative agent to these factors, to these happenings in these two states? Why do you think people are turning out more for elections in the southwest, especially Ekiti and Osun, this particular period?
You are very correct. The outcome of voters for Osun election beats most people's imagination. In fact, with what we experienced before the election, the thinking was that there will be voter apathy. And don't forget, in the last election of Osun, the turnout was not actually
it wasn't
much as this, but this one is massive. And I think what informed, of course, our people are beginning to see the process as a personal thing. People are already accepting the fact that their future is in their hands. They are beginning to accept the fact that for their vote to be for their vote to count, they must be involved, and not only by mouth, they must be physically present. And I think we are having that orientation now, that the future begins today, and it begins with us. And again, the kind of political awareness created by political parties is equally assisting us. And I tell you one thing, there is always a blessing in disguise, because the security issue that was being scaled up actually agitated people to say, yes, this time around, we are going to come out. But what is going to happen, it will happen in our presence. And if you see our people from the clips we were seeing, as they were voting, everybody was also using his Android phone and cameras recording everything. That means everybody was vigilant. Everybody was concerned. And I think it's a sign of our democracy is actually germinating. Yeah. We are nurturing it very well. And if once we get to that level, I can tell you Nigeria will be a better place. When we are believing that it is a trust process, that every 4 years we have that right that we must come out to determine who becomes our leaders. The moment we're able to do that, and we do that religiously, I think Nigeria is becoming truly democratic state. So to me, I think Ekiti is showing to us that people must take over what belongs to them. And Osun is following suit now by ensuring that people are trooped out en masse to cast their ballot. And I think what informed it, of course, was that people want to be sure that the person of their choice emerge as the governor of Osun. And I think it's a very good thing that we must sustain till 2027 for people to actually see electoral process as something that they must be involved in, that it is meant for them, not for leaders, not for those in government, not those in authority, and that they should not equally be intimidated by the politicians. Politicians is playing their game, but out of our population, maybe 1 or 2% are politicians. 98 of us are not politicians. And 2% cannot overwhelm 98.
Definitely
it's the only time that we realize that and we're able to. And if this is sustained, I can tell you 2027 will be a test case for Nigeria state. And for once, we'll march on. And that will even allow us to even determine the actual number of registered voters in Nigeria. Don't forget, the vote that's coming from north is always more than the vote coming from the south. And reason being that we normally have voters apathy here, whereas up there, they have their ways of doing their things there. But by 2027, this will be addressed for us to actually determine densely populated area and sparsely populated area. And I think, yes, and I'm sending a message. And I think by now, it should be getting to the head of our politicians. The era of armchair politicking has gone. You must actually go to the field. And if you look at the rate of campaign of Accord Party and APC, you discover that they took it as if their life depends on that campaign.
They went down.
They went down to the grassroots, to the villages, house to house, and they walked. And everybody in each of the two political parties were actually involved. World leaders were involved. So people were mobilized, and people were gone. And don't equally forget, money was equally involved. And people are interested in coming to collect money. So it's another factor that helps. So like I said, that's blessing in disguise. I mean, where we have is a negative thing, but it's helping people to come out. Yes.
I think you're the first person that's bringing this up.
Yes, that's the truth. Because it's negative, but people are where they have said they want to contest about who is going to pay the highest. I want to be part of the process. I don't want to be told I collected this amount. People trooped out. There are some that came out genuinely patriotically, but majority of them came out because of we know money will be involved because it's going to be highest bidder. But it's equally a positive thing. If you can sustain it, next is for our security to show that they monitor this, to ensure that this is reduced to embarrassment minimum, and for people to have political education, that everything is not about money, because whatever you are given during election day cannot last you 3-4 days.
Can't even last you a week. 3-4 days is too long. It can't last you that day.
Exactly. So they must realize that whatever they're going to give them for that day cannot last them more than 24 hours. So why mortgaging your future for another 4 years? And if the process is free and fair, when this Osun election, anybody that's elected in Osun will sit up and do the bidding of the people, because people are the one who is determining who will govern Osun till 2030.
So over the course of the week,
yes,
the big wigs and the former governors of Osun State are supporting Oyebamiji. Okay. Do you think, first, the supporting, is it out of fear of the opposition party, or because they believe that Oyebamiji is capable to perform better than the current governor? And number two, in a democracy in Nigeria now, should we allow such a thing to still continue to happen, whereby past leaders are in support of a particular candidate over a particular candidate?
Well, let me start by saying it's my right to determine or decide who I want to support.
Okay.
It's my right. If the former governor decides to support a particular candidate, we can't deny them that right. They have right to make a choice, but they cannot impose on the electorate.
True.
That's what we must get. So we can support anybody. Then coming to former governors or some people supporting Oyebamiji against the Accord Party, don't forget the Accord Party in Osun was a new baby. The governor of Osun was in PDP. and PDP is in comatose as we speak. And that crisis made him to leave PDP. I don't equally forget, the governor of Osun, Mr. Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke, attempted to come to APC.
Yeah, he attempted to because of party violence.
Yes, he attempted to come to APC. But there are a lot of disagreements here and there. And I tell you, left for Nigerian president wanted him to come. That was the truth. Actually, wanted him to come. But local leaders of APC in Osun said no. There are reasons I do not know. So for you to know that he actually wanted to come to APC himself. So if other leaders are now decamping to APC, it's what he wanted to do, but he was not allowed to come. The door was closed against him. I don't know why. So to show one thing, that what the former governors did by coming to APC, they have not committed any crime. It's something that the current governor wanted to do, but was not allowed, was not given pass, was not given ticket to come in. So maybe they decided together, if it was not allowed, we were allowed. So they were given easy passage, it was not given. So having said that, now again, like I said initially, every Nigerian is free to decide who they want to support. Is their right. But what I'm enjoying this election is none of them can dictate for the electorate. And that's a bit of democracy. So once they can dictate, and what they have done, so far the report we have gotten from the field has not rubbed off on the result we are getting so far. It has not rubbed, that's not the truth, it has not rubbed off. So, which means, yes, they are on their own, and they are free to do whatever they want to do. It's their right. But they can't impose their right on, like before, as they have pronounced 2-3 days ago, that will be the trend of the voting. But I'm afraid, from what we are getting so far, I don't think that is a trend. They are on their own. And I think it's good. And our leaders will be realizing now. The era of saying, leader has spoken, and whatever he says what we are going to do has gone.
Totally.
When it comes to election is personal. In fact, an husband cannot dictate for his wife. In the olden days, I'll tell you, if you don't vote like this, don't come back to my house. But I think we are going to the era of civilized democracy. That you allow your children who are of age, who are voting age, your wife, your neighbors, your tenants,
vote who they like,
to decide what they want. It's their future. Once we get to that level, I tell you, our democracy will be better for it. Initially, we might not like it. There will be pains, there will be suffering, there will be dislocation, but with time, we'll get it right. That as we are voting now, we must forget one thing. It's a matter of trust. Don't forget we have local democracy, and we have national or state democracy. Local democracy is where you are in a village, you know yourself one-on-one. Oh, this Baba is the next in line to become a Bale or to become a Loloja or Oba. But in terms of state democracy, don't forget, it's a matter of trust. Somebody you do not know, somebody you do not see before, presenting himself that wants to be your chairman, your governor, your president, is a difficult thing. So, and it's a trust issue. So people should be allowed to decide what they want. Oh, I want this man. He has spoken, I've listened to him, I've read his pedigree, I've seen what he has done.
I've done my research.
Exactly about him, I'm voting for him. Oh, I just like the way he talks. So even when people are allowed to do that, I can tell you, we'll reach a stage that will be more critical in analyzing who becomes what. Just like in the developed democracy like America, like Britain, you see, they analyze them, they look at their pedigree, they look at what they have done wrong, what they have done right, and so on, and they will choose. So to me, the leaders are choosing or supporting a particular candidate is their right, but that not affecting the electorate is also important, and that has not affected the election of Osun, and I think it's good for our democracy.
Well, talking about that not affecting our democracy, and you talked a lot about the place of how leaders these days actually affect, though we have gotten to modernized democracy where we are not really looking at the fact that anyone can dictate for anybody who anybody is going, but we also opinion leaders to matter when it comes to elections. But let me ask this question: do you think will really come where God or opinion leaders? I think it worked out fine for Biodun Ibameji in Ekiti. Talking all past electorally elected, democratically elected past governors of Ekiti from 1999 to date supported him full. Both in support of Leke this election. Not in support of Adeleke. It was only shocking because at least some months before he defected, they were still on good terms.
Exactly.
But the minute he defected, in fact, someone called today to say that when you defect, because it was seen on the violence that was experienced, when you defect from a party and you take away all the structure, what expecting? You expect resistance from the home you left. That is Governor Adeleke. Person also that Ralph Elegbeshola and his own around, he has a candidate, his own Nolim Salam. Oyetola too is not in Adeleke in this particular. So this definitely, they will definitely have a name on their followers who they are going to vote. So do you think with this, asking based on elections, the impact of opinion leaders, we know we are fizzling out, but till when do we fizzle out that phase? How much do you think that still matters in elections, even as we say?
Thank you very much. This is an Osun. The question you ask is a different one. See, no format is having any candidate or choice, any party of their own, they are funding or they are actively involved in, none. Talk about former Governor Fayose is in PDP, PDP is in comatose. Ni Adebayo is in APC. Fayemi is in APC. So, save for Fayose and this former governor, this senator, I can't recollect her name now, she's in PDP. Now, but, you know, so the former governors will mention they are more of people than other political. Save for Ilola, who PDP to join it because maybe they didn't want to Governor Adeleke to accompany, you know. Maybe it's about the only one. After Beshola. From APC to ADC. And Rafa is National Secretary of ADC. So, also the former governors of were political class. And all of them field campaigning, was campaigning seriously for their candidates. So it will be difficult for them to come together and endorse a candidate. If you look at them very well, there was bitterness in some of former governors of Osun against maybe their former political parties. And it's Ogbeni Beshola, who left it and they were ready to ensure that APC is not anything in Osun. And at the same time, maybe find it to align with their court. So it's a different scenario and Osun. What is more, in Ekiti, all governors are in agreement also Ibamichi because Iba formed exceedingly more than all the former governors put together. This fact was confirmed when he said publicly, this governor has surpassed all his achievement and he was the best at that matter. The governor has surpassed all of them put together. And that's also true about Ekiti. Oyebamiji is just a godsend. This somebody even any chance of performing. When he was being brought out by Fayemi, he was the chief of staff to Fayemi when he was in government. We thought it was a command. But what he's doing has never been done by any governor. He didn't see any opposition in Ekiti. He saw Ekiti people. And like first in most of our states, they see our position. But what he do for his own political lead, who are former governors because governors, is the same thing that for others who are not in his party. The way Fayemi is, the way he's treating Fayemi. So it's a different manner who doesn't allow the off to enter his head. Own personal is rare. That's what I'm saying. It is different from Osun. Governor Adeleke not seen opposition as Osun people. Opposition right from the one, and that's has been treating them. And when he wanted to come to APC, to sort of from the of APC, this man should not be allowed to come because he's serious. His governance was him alone, him and his family alone, him and the north and the south. So that's what I'm saying. You can't compare Osun and Ekiti. The governor of it sees everybody after the party you belong to, a man, Ekiti woman. But you know, the governor sees upon as opposition must be totally dealt with. That's the problem. And that's the problem. That's why the election is more do or die. we have desperation. And I think governors, our president, chairman of council, our honorable leaders should borrow a leaf from that once you are in authority, you have become a father figure to everybody. And you must tie everybody along, involve your governance. If you succeed, you get it. If you, I mean, we want it. But if you fail, finally to your cause of God, there's no way we can remove God from politics. From politics. Godfatherism is not going to work in our electoral. Yes, it's no longer going to work because election individualistic is your personal right that you are to exercise at the appropriate time. And when it comes to it's going to go time because we must forget that poverty has been well. That's our problem in Nigeria. That's it's only time we address that. If you are, for instance, I'm a person of my pedigree, or can be difficult for me to give me money to vote against my conscience, myself. What you are offering me is something to get within 1 or 2 hours if I focus my job. So I think I don't, and I'll think about integrity. So once we're able to recognition of poverty, I can assure you, vote be a thing.
Right. So let's something we've not actually spoken about beginning. Start segment. The election report is giving credit to travelers in Osun State. What can you say about that?
I'm very, very well. I was listening to presidential candidate AAC on Elusho, and it was the governor of Osun, royal blessing by any to Abatunde. He now said Oni was giving blessing to all the candidates that were coming to this. Now, meaning that they acting as father figure, all of them put together, all politicians. And that's how their father should be behaving. They might have a preference, but they have not it. So I want to commend national rulers in Osun State particularly for being neutral, for ensuring that their palaces are homes to all, for believing that all are their sons, daughters, and not be accommodated. You know, if for instance is funny, the deputy governorship candidate in the accord parties from if the deputy governorship APC, you know, it's very funny. So, which one, if you endorse and you leave B, you will offend. If you ask B, and so it's a sort of, you have to be neutral. And from time immemorial, Oni has always been. In fact, you will see him commenting on matters. Other one or two of us tried, like Oluwo tried to, but at the day he did not actually answer. So which I think I was in Osun. I've done. I want them to impact to ensure that if you support party A and party A does not, how going to relate with party B, and that the election will be paying your money. I think we've, and the law is local government council campaign. So I think our others have tried. Now, other Yoruba land and borrow relief to ensure that neutral and don't allow their office to be used for school.
Well, thank you. Actually, just some few minutes away from, let's do just 3 minutes away from discussing. So I'll ask this one question. It will be the last question, probably, but I want to shaping it into 3 acts in itself. In the sense that your predictions for this election and what's your personal predictions will spell for Nigeria, for Osun State first, and for Nigeria looking towards the general elections as a whole.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to commend INEC and other security agencies. Well done for us to allow us to have a peaceful election in Osun. We are still waiting if the result will be transparent, if it will be credible, we accept. But we have peaceful election. Having said that, it's too close to call. But as somebody who is on grant, it's going to be a very close context. But accord will carry the day.
Accord will carry the day.
Yes.
And what does that spell?
The incumbent governor will be re-elected, but the margin will be very, very slim. Yes. Though the local government at the time of election, their results have not been declared. And don't forget, the result we are getting from the units. We have not got it from the ward. We have not got it from government. It's state, and that's why I'm not happy with some channels trying to be hearing live the announcement of polling unit results. If you are not careful, it might cause problem. Because what I see in this election, of course, is that there will not be problem during election, but there might be problem after the announcing results. So that's my fear. That's where area which I want our security agencies to be vigilant. Because by the time the result is announced, people might not accept it. Because for instance, now, I was watching a television station before I joined the program here. They were actually, broadcasting live. Counting of ballots. If you now have that, that's Oshobo. If you now have that now, a party won with a very wide margin. If tomorrow now you now say in Oshobo local government, the other party now is a winner. As an illiterate or somebody who doesn't know the workings, I would think it's related.
Yes, it wasn't about
so that's what I'm saying. Our media houses should be careful in announcing. Now, I'm afraid that we waited until the collation at various levels. If it's collation now, for instance, a unit now is not enough. But if it's collation at the rack now, I'm talking about the ward level. We know in that ward we have results from all the units. So now, but if you have, we have 10 units now, and you only listen to 5, their vote is just 500. The other 5, their vote is 1,000. So in the 5 that's 500, you won. The one now that is 1,000, I won. My own is 800. So if you now have, I will now think it was my. But if you allow the collation to be done at the ward level, you now bring out that of ward, it will help. So I'm telling our people, security agents particularly, that they should be ready that post-election result, they should be guided.
Post-election, they should be guided. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Barrister Sharafa Okewe, for this time you spent with us. I wish we could take more stories, but we can't. I wish we could take more questions too as well, but it's not possible for now because we need to progress quick. And yes, like we said earlier before now, counting has started at the polling. We are expecting results from the ward levels, and as well by the time we are set for the local government and the general collation, we will still bring you updates on that. But for now, I think it's time to take a break or something.
True. And as we begin to round off this studio session for today, we have reviewed the key development that have emerged from today's electoral exercise across Osun State. We have examined voter turnout patterns, assessed the performance of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and other key stakeholders, and considered the experiences and reports emerging from different parts of the state. We have also reflected on the missings from today's election and explored what these developments mean for the electoral patient, administration, and democratic governance in Osun State and Nigeria as a whole.
And our session has also looked ahead to 2 important milestones on the nation's electoral calendar: the forthcoming Osun State governorship elections scheduled for recently, and we are still looking towards the January 2027 general elections. The experiences and trends observed today will no doubt provide important points for reflection as political parties, electoral authorities, observers, civil society organizations, and citizens continue to assess the process and draw lessons from conversations arising from today's election are also likely to continue in the days ahead, particularly as attention shifts towards the collation, verification, and announcement of results. This is a critical stage of the electoral process, and it requires responsibility, transparency, and respect for established electoral procedures from all stakeholders.
And we would like to express our sincere appreciation to our guest analysts for valuable perspective and insight shared with us throughout the day. Our thanks also go to our correspondents and reporting team across Osun State, election observers, and everyone who has contributed to our coverage. Most importantly, we appreciate you, our viewers, for staying with us and following our comprehensive coverage of the electoral process.
Well, as the moves into the collation and the results verification stages. We urge all stakeholders across Osun State to remain calm, peaceful, patient, and committed to the principles of democracy and the rule of law. Every stage of the process matters, and the responsibility to protect the peace and integrity of the electoral process belongs to all of us. In just a few moments, we will bring today's studio session to a close. However, our election coverage does not end here. We will continue to monitor developments across Osun State and bring you timely, credible, and verified updates, special reports, and analysis as events unfold. Stay with KAFTAN TV. We'll be right back for our final sign-off.
APC. Accord. What is happening here?
Today we are on and I'm so happy just for accord
Right, so what is your advice now if eventually
Final moment is special coverage on KAFTAN television as we bring you up reflections from Osun State. For the past 8 hours, I've brought you extensive reports, life development, expert analysis, voter reactions, and first-hand reports from a correspondent reporting team stationed across different parts of Osun. Throughout the day, we have followed voters as they participated in this important democratic exercise and exercised their civic responsibilities.
I think we've tried today actually, as our coverage has provided viewers with a comprehensive picture of the electoral process in Osun State, from voter accreditation and the commencement of voting to development at polling units, voter experiences, and the conduct of electoral officials. We have also engaged experts and analysts on key issues including political and governance history, voter turnout, electoral administration, security arrangements, the performance of INEC, and the broader lessons that can be drawn from today's exercise for the future of democracy in Osun State and Nigeria.
And yes, while voting activities may have largely come to an end in many parts of the state, it is important to emphasize that electoral processes is far from over. Attention now shifts to the next critical stage: the collation, verification, and transmission of results in accordance with established electoral procedures. These processes will be closely watched by political parties, candidates, observers, the media, and citizens as they seek to ensure that the outcome reflects the will of the Osun State. And as we approach the end of today's studio coverage, our commitment remains to providing you with accurate, timely, and verified information as the electoral processes continue to unfold.
I think today has just been one of those days where I can say it's a full day. It's a full day, and we dwelled a whole lot on what actually happened in the elections today. The accusations, like Sharafa Okewoye actually said, which I agree with to an extent, the exaggeration of the pre-violence that occurred and the threats.
Will I call it exaggeration, or they work based on what has been happening? I won't call it exaggeration per se, but just because of what has been happening, the killings, the gunning men down, the whole violence, crisis, chaotic situation, I think it's enough for the government to actually take into consideration about deploying such a large number of security personnel down to Osun State. So I don't think it's exaggeration, but most importantly, he made a statement, a profound one, that we should look after the post-election, which is the important thing. And because of the track record of Osun State so far, the pre-election was not serious. It was serious. It was serious and not easy. But the election, people came out to vote in mass, and there was no
issues too as well.
Yeah, there was no issue. There was issue pre-election. There was no issue on election day. We don't know what will happen post-election, just as he has said earlier.
Well, talking about post-election is something that we need to look into. For someone who had been on ground for elections before, I know how post-elections can be sometimes. I remember being at the INEC office, that was in 2018, that was at Oshogbo. And just when they were, before they declared it inconclusive and having a rerun elections the next 30 days, I remember how people trooped out, and it took police tear gas to actually dispatch people. They stood at the gate of the INEC offices. I was in the car at a particular time, just going to get something, and when I saw that, I stood with the cameraman to pick up. But before we know what's happening, tear gas here, there's slaps on different people.
Imagine.
And bottles broken and all that. We had to rush back into the whole place. So you see how people take elections very serious. And just like Sharafa said, I think, I don't know what is going to be the outcome of this, but we need to watch for the post-elections at least, because I know if it doesn't go the way of the incumbent, there will be a bit of outcry. If it doesn't go the way of the APC candidate in the person of Bola, there will be a bit of outcry. So at least for a day, 2 days, 3 days, there should be guidance here, there, and all that to ensure that at least people are well guided and safe, because we know that some communities in Osun State, they have an history of, you know, bad bloods against one another.
And even whereby one of them, there was a case reported today that there was violence at that particular community.
Yeah, so, but that to be specific.
Yeah, so we don't know what can happen after the election, because there's going to be outcry from both parties that are leading the election.
Talking about outcry, each of them have been throwing blames at each other. This one did that, that one did this. But we know, just like Brother Matthew said, that the both of them, even down to the third force in the person of the ADC, Nalim Salam, cannot say they did not make attempts towards votes buying or trying to actually cajole voters or do one or two things here, there, and co. So we can't say it's just one side. So though we feel and we know that gradually, just like we have said so far today, that in Nigerian electoral process, things like violence, you know, here, there, votes buying and the likes will gradually fizzle out. Even the place of political godfatherism and co. I'm one of those people that believes that whatever we make Adeleke win these particular elections, then an era of Baba Sokwe, or what some people will term as my leader said I should vote this person, it's gradually fizzling out. Because if you look at it, it seems almost every political actor, like the majority of them actually, are more behind Bola Oyebameji. So if Adeleke wins, it's going to be like, okay, the people also have their views, the people also have their stance, the people also have
I think which actually defines democracy.
And they can defend
itself,
their democracy, and they can stand, not just someone dictating from somewhere that
not just the political will behind a particular person. It's actually about the people, not about the people behind the candidates. So I think that's my own view on that.
Personally, I have a wild prediction as well. I think there might be a rerun of these elections from what I'm seeing, because it's going to be very tight. That's my own personal prediction.
Same here.
But because I feel it could flip, I feel we could maintain. But either ways, if Adeleke wins, he joins the league of the only person standing in Osun to have actually won this election back to back as an incumbent. And if he loses, well, not that bad, because at the end of the day, there's a long list of people who did not do more than a term in Osun as governor. He himself won Boyega Oyetola, who just served one term. So let's still see how it is.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Like I said earlier, before we started before we come to this, our fingers crossed, on this issue. Like I said, we have our like he said, we have our predictions, which I'm actually not going to say here. But whatsoever the turnout is, it will be. It's okay. It is well. I'm very sure the people of Osun State will work with whoever is being elected as their governor.
Yeah, they will have to work with whoever. No matter what, is just a sport. It's a game. Whoever wins, you work with him. It's your choice. And like we all say, democracy is a game of winner takes all. Most of the times, in most cases. So whoever wins, you have to him as your governor for the next 4 years. Still, you have another opportunity to unseat or maybe continue with the person, as the case may be. But right about now, as we bring today's special election studio session to a close, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to everyone who contributed to the success of our coverage, especially you who called and tried to hear your opinions on the program today. We really appreciate you. We advise that you keep watching KAFTAN television and keep watching our live broadcast, because it doesn't end here. And we will also thank every crew member, every reporter, election observers, security agencies, technical crew, production team, and all our support staff who worked tirelessly to keep you informed throughout the day. Most importantly, we thank you, our viewers across our state, Nigeria, and beyond, for staying with us throughout this extensive coverage and timely reports on today's electoral developments.
And as the process now moves into collation, verification, and announcement stages, we urge all stakeholders, including political parties, candidates, supporters, official observers and citizens to remain calm, peaceful, patient and law-abiding. We encourage everyone to respect the established electoral procedure and allow the process to run its course without tension or disruption. The election may have reached the end of the voting stage, but the story in Osun State is far from over. The coming hours will be critical as we are collated and verified, and as the authorities begin to provide official updates on the outcome of the exercise.
Oh, join us tomorrow, Sunday, 16th 16th August, actually 2026, for continued coverage as we bring you live reports from collation centers across Osun State, official announcements, reactions from political parties and stakeholders, analysis, post-election assessments, and other major developments as they unfold. In the meantime, stay tuned to KAFTAN TV's regular news bulletins throughout the evening for the latest election updates, verified results, and breaking developments from across Osun State. From all of us here at KAFTAN Television, thank you for watching and good night. I am Josh Honode.
And I am Ajoke Twe. Thank you for watching. Good evening, stay safe, and stay informed.